actually letting the whole community know, that particular street or whatever, people are going, oh, what's going on there? Why did they put a pipe bomb in his car? So it does raise public awareness about that individual. And it's a way of, it's a sinister way, if you want, it's, of targeting somebody. Without doing them any physical harm. You could do quite a lot of harm to their reputation and to their life.
Across the border in Donegal, Rad pursued a man in what looks like a murder bid. Gunmen lay in wait and fired on him. He was hit in the neck but survived and fled his home. Weeks later, Rad left a pipe bomb as a warning not to return. Then, they made sure of it. But the family living here have stayed put despite being targeted twice by Rad. In the first attack, they came for 24-year-old Tony Dalzell. His 14-year-old sister and her teenage friend were held while the gunmen went about their work.
When I saw them last man, I didn't know what to do. And then two of them came over to the sofa and held guns to our head. And at that stage I thought I was going to get shot dead. And then they knew what room my brother was in. And then they went in. And as they went in, I heard my brother shouting. And then the next minute I just heard the shooting. Last man shouted one more. And then as he shouted one more, they told me if I moved I was going to get the same result my brother was getting.
Tony Dalzell, who was in bed, was shot 5 times in his legs. One of the bullets went through the floor and ricocheted in the downstairs room where his sister was being held. Another sister feared the worst when she saw her brother.
He was lying on the floor, blood everywhere. Paramedics, 2 paramedics was working with him. And I had him up in here in my arms and keeping his wounds closed on his legs and talking him through the gas in there because he kept panicking. He told me he was all, I'm dying, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. He was freezing, he was shivering. He actually thought he was dying, and it was terrible.
He survived, but Rad weren't finished with the Dalzells. They returned with a pipe bomb, smashed Tony Dalzell's car window and left it on the seat. His father unwittingly carried the bomb into the house along with his son's belongings.
We discovered it was a pipe bomb. And we were told to get it out. So we got it out the front garden. But that has left us just wrecked. You know, if that had went off on the car, or even on the husband's hands, we were talking major damage. Which we don't think about ever. Because that was left early evening. That was left about 8 o'clock too. And children had playing. I know, a pipe bomb. What are they playing at? What damage are they trying to do to us? They've destroyed a family. But they won't pull us apart.
As the notoriety of Rad spreads, one victim is angry that they seem to be able to gain publicity from the Derry Journal.
This gang of thugs send a photograph, take photographs themselves wearing balaclavas, holding up bags of flour or whatever it is, send it to the Derry Journal.
Rad even paraded a father and son who they claimed were drug dealers in front of the newspaper's photographer.
There are questions that need to be asked. The reality is Rad have abducted some people and they haven't been shot. Rad have shot people that haven't been abducted. And Rad have left certain individuals within their community, high-profile individuals, untouched. So what's going on? Are Rad taking money from drug dealers? Are Rad taxing drug dealers? Are Rad selling licences to drug dealers to deal in those areas? These are the questions I would expect journalists to be asking.
The editor of the Derry Journal told us that the paper is on record as being totally opposed to the actions of Rad and in favour of them being closely scrutinised.
We have a public service to conduct in terms of letting people know what's happening in the area, and I know that when Rad began operating there were calls from people for Rad to explain themselves. So they did take one of our reporters, read out a statement of their aims and what they plan to do. and they have issued statements which have been talked about their operations and who they're targeting. So it's a matter of public interest, so we have to balance up the propaganda elements with the public interest in finding out more about a group who are carrying out armed and bloody attacks here in the city.
RAD's publicity tactic of parading people in front of the cameras reminds people, obviously, of misfortune as you're falling into the hands of terrorist organisations in the Middle East, and are then paraded in front of cameras making pathetic pleas to their families back home. It's also about frightening other people. Here's what happens to you, and we could have taken stronger action. We could kill these people. That's what they're saying. Sort of, and it's designed to strike terror into many people around the community.
But RAD haven't just made the news, they've also scanned the news pages for potential targets.
These three men were arrested. I mean, like, we do have to still work on the presumption of innocence. These guys were arrested, appeared in court on Monday, charged with possession of cocaine, and on Friday night, the following Friday night, two of them were shot. I mean, again, you were talking about intelligence earlier, there doesn't have to be a lot of intelligence, I just read the paper.
RAD recently took care of what they saw as unfinished business. A third man was shot in the legs after being ordered to show up in an alleyway. So naming suspected drug dealers in court is now a big problem for police.
Now that's caused us to look at our policies and procedures. It's caused me to speak to the district judge and ask him to review his operating systems to make sure that that doesn't happen again.
Does that mean then that names could be withheld and addresses could be withheld?
If that's what it takes, then that's what will be considered, yes.
They may claim to be a secret, tightly controlled gang, but the names of those who control RAD are known in Derry.
The police have given up on Craig. These people rule Craig. The police know who they are and won't even arrest them. What does that say? Who's in control? It's certainly not the police. Well, ask any taxi man, go to Craig and he'll tell you who they are. And not only that, he'll tell you where they live. And the police know who they are too. But they've arrested no one. The police told me they know who they are. I give them the names. And they said they know that, they know who they are. But they won't arrest them. For whatever reason.
The police have stepped up patrols to try to counter the threat from RAD. But securing convictions isn't easy.
We have a fairly good picture of who these people are and who's involved in RAD. But there's obviously a great deal of fear and intimidation in the community as well. People are not comfortable in coming forward and giving us information on RAD.
Are you telling us then that you know the individuals involved in RAD?
Yes, we do. We have a very clear idea of who's involved, and it's up to us to turn that information into evidence and mount prosecutions against them. And that will not be easy.
If fighting RAD is difficult for the PSNI, it's even more difficult for Sinn Féin. The party has staked so much on policing, but in Martin McGuinness's hometown, vigilante action is clearly on the increase, and that's a big block to delivering anything like a normal police service. Isn't it true to say, though, that there will be people within your party who will know exactly who the people behind RAD are because they're former members of the IRA?
Well, I don't know if who has given names to the PSNI or who has not, and neither do you, I would say. But what I would say to you is that we have put out a number of calls to organisations to engage with them. But if organisations do not want to engage with us, then that's our difficulty. What I would say to you, that people who have guns and do not have a strategy are nothing more than gunmen.
They are a bunch of criminals and vigilantes who have taken upon themselves to be judge, jury and executioner.
Some charges have been brought, but the leaders of RAD are still eluding police. In Derry, Republican unity has not survived the journey out of war. Dissident violence, vigilante action and the murder of Kieran Doherty have eclipsed the settled peace. Ambitions to fully engage with the police are undermined and under pressure as the community faces the question, who speaks for republicanism in the city?
This is not just about shooting alleged drug dealers. It's not just about attacking the security forces. In a much wider frame, it's about attacking Adams and McGuinness, and it's about that question of authority and right within the Republican community. The Republican community was at war with the police for decades here, and that's not going to be changed by the